What's up, guys? So I'm gonna do just a little video on why flat earth appeals to me. And some of you are probably already thinking, this is complete nonsense. Why should I waste my time with this stuff? And that's totally fine. You can do that. But I'm just gonna make this anyway for anyone who's curious. So for me, I started out probably like everyone else, and when I think about flat earth and starting to believe in it, it reminds me of the 7 stages of grief. So I think this was probably a few months back before I really woke up to this. I want to say it was probably around November or December, when I was heavily still manipulated by mainstream media. I was as hardcore liberal as you could get. And I used to watch shows like TYT and MSNBC and all kinds of stuff. But I remember seeing a quote somewhere, and I'm not sure who was discussing it. It might have been TYT. I'm not sure where I saw it, but it was a media talking about it, and they showed this Twitter quote from some celebrity saying the earth was flat. And my initial reaction was complete and utter shock. Like, my jaw hit the floor, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, how in this day and age do people still think the earth is flat? It felt like something in my mind exploded when I heard that statement. I just, like, my mind was blown. I could not believe it. So I hit shock right away. And then, the next stage is denial. But I want to say most people who encounter the flat earth theory probably go from shock straight to anger. And then that was my second reaction, was like, who the hell is this person who still thinks the earth is flat, and what is wrong with them? And someone should sterilize them because they should not have children. And I tend to see that reaction a lot with people who comment or are in this community and are trying to debunk it. Is a lot of the comments are just so nasty towards people who put out anything about flat earth. They're like, you're a shitty person and you shouldn't reproduce, and you're mentally ill or something like that. And it's really fascinating to see this, because our whole lives we have been taught it's a spinning globe. We would go to school and there was a spinning globe in class, and that's what they taught us from day one. And even our parents would teach us that before we even started school. The earth is round. And then it's like we have, supposedly, I say supposedly, all this evidence of it being round. So for someone to come out and go, no, I think it's flat, like, all hell breaks loose in your mind. It feels like if you stuck like a magnet up to a television or a computer screen. That's how I would describe the moment someone said the earth was flat. My mind just like melted with the stupidity of that statement. But then I started going into other stages, and I think I probably went into denial after anger, which I was like, no, obviously it's not flat. Why would I even question it? And then I get angry again. Like, who are these people questioning all the science? Who are they? What is wrong with them? But then you start going into bargaining, and you say, you know what? I'm gonna listen to what they have to say, and I'm gonna just hear them out, and then I'm gonna debunk the crap out of their theories. I'm just gonna listen, is what you tell yourself. I'm just gonna hear what they have to say. just so I can totally destroy all of their fake science. That's what you tell yourself, right? And then you start digging into it and researching it. And then you kind of enter into this state of depression. And for me, it was kind of just like this hollow feeling, because I saw the facts that the flat earthers put forward, and it's cognitive dissonance at its finest. It's like my whole life I was told it's round, I believed it's round, I saw pictures of a round earth from space, and then people put stuff forward and you listen to it and you start to think, yeah, there are some things about the spinning globe that don't make sense and I never even thought about before. And you kind of fall into this little world of feeling like, what can I trust? You start thinking, if the whole earth is flat, what does that mean? What are the implications? And you just feel terrible, like you've been lied to your whole life, and suddenly, I don't know, the wool is ripped from your eyes and you wake up and you're just, you're in total shock is what it is. It feels very hollow when you reach that stage where you're kind of fumbling around, trying to make sense of the cognitive dissonance you're feeling. And when I say flat, I'm not saying it's completely flat, like a thin piece of paper. I'm saying the land is flat and the sky is domed, and I'm not sure if the bottom is domed, but so I mean it could be round in that sense, like a snow globe. I don't know. I don't have a spaceship to go up there and check, okay? But I'm gonna get into some of my observations and why it appeals to me so much. But then you start getting into the next stage, which is testing, and this is the probably the level that I'm at right now. And by testing it, I mean I'm trying to find all sorts of different viewpoints and trying to explain different stuff. Well, I'm like, okay, so if I'm humoring the whole thing. I'm like, okay, so if it's flat, how does the sun work? How does the moon work? What are stars? What are asteroids? And that's where I am right now. I'm like, okay, if this is indeed flat, how do we explain all the stuff that round Earth explains to us? What are satellites? Where are satellites? What is the ISS? So that's where I'm at right now, is testing. So I'm trying to find realistic solutions as far as flat Earth theory to explain some of the round Earth stuff. And there have been a lot of people who are doing really good research on that. And there still are a lot of things that aren't explained by flat Earth. And there are a lot of things that round Earth doesn't explain. I think the people who have the absolute answers of this are the ones who are NASA, the ones who are up there. Okay? So I'm not quite at acceptance yet. I still find some things that I totally question and don't agree with. But I'm feeling it out. I'm trying to figure out, does this theory really hold up? And it's very interesting. So the main thing is, what are the implications of flat Earth? And a lot of people have come out and said, oh, it's just psyops and whatnot. And I do think there is an element of psyops in there. Like, you definitely do come across some people who say, oh, we're a giant spaceship and the reptilian aliens are feeding off our energy through the moon. And I just kind of sit there and I look at the arguments, and I'm like, how do you get from, I don't know how you can get from that perspective from round Earth and to flat Earth to its spaceship. That sounds very psyops to me, and I'll explain that part of it in just a moment. So really, what are the implications of the Earth being flat and we've been completely lied to for centuries. And the main thing is there's a God, okay? And so science tells us that there was a big bang, there was a huge explosion in nothingness, and all the atoms came about and created everything, and you know, you happen to be on this one special rock that's just the right distance from the sun for water and life to form and evolve, and millions and millions and millions of years. And you know, it's all just coincidence that you're here. You're not special at all. And that theory really just destroys God. It says, you know, I mean, it's hard for, I don't understand how people can believe in science and God at the same time. You know, I had a science teacher she was chemistry teacher in high school, and she did have both of those opinions, and she was a magical unicorn in my opinion. Because I don't know how you can believe in creation and believe also that an explosion in nothing created everything. Like, the two are so opposing. And so the you know, saying that there is a God and that the earth is flat means he built it, he made everything, and he specifically put you here, and that you are special and you have a purpose. That's what it means. And that's really one of the key reasons that I love flat earth theory, is it goes from I am not special, I am a tiny speck of dust on a tiny space rock in a vast cosmos soup, and I am not special and my problems mean nothing, to believing that I am special. There is a God, he does love me, and he put me here for a reason. That's the jump between the two theories, okay? So, I haven't seen this movie yet. It's called The Principle, and a lot of people are talking about this, and it is very interesting that this movie came out, you know, right along when some of the hype started. This movie does still think that the Earth is a spinning globe, but it's more that we are the center of that universe and the sun orbits around us.
Science has found evidence that Earth is the center of the universe. Science has found evidence that God exists. So why do they tell us we are insignificant?
There's nothing special about humans. There's nothing special about the Earth. In fact, our universe may be one among many universes.
So there it is again, you know, you have the scientists saying, you're not special. There's nothing special about us. We are just a tiny little coincidental blip on a larger scale. And when you hear things like that, it's kind of, you know, it's hard to continue playing the charade that they want you to do. You know, say you're not special, go to work, do your part, we're gonna try and find aliens one day and make sense of this, and you're like, oh, okay, and you hang your head and you keep doing what society tells you. But if the earth is flat and God indeed put you here for a reason, it's like, well, who the hell are these people trying to tell me what to do? I have a purpose deep down and I know it, and I need to be doing the Lord's work, is what it amounts to. But another reason that I don't think this is psyops is because I don't see how it can fit into the Illuminati, the powers that be. How does it fit into their plans to do this? Because we already know from a fact that they've got projects like Project Bluebeam, and they're putting out space stuff like every week now. We recently had the discovery of gravitational waves, which is complete and utter nonsense if you look into Nikola Tesla's theory at all. And if you do believe in Planet X and Nibiru, and you still hold on to this thought of gravity I mean, it doesn't make sense, okay? To think that a planet is coming towards us and applying the laws of gravity to this planet coming towards us does not make sense. If you apply an electromagnetic universe perspective to the planet coming towards us, that makes more sense. Because if we apply gravity, the thing would smash into us and we all would die, and that's the end of the story. And a lot of people who are in the Nibiru community don't think that's going to happen. They think there's going to be a pole shift. I did for a while, but my thoughts are starting to kind of change as to what Nibiru might actually be, just as I'm learning more and I'm trying to find all these different sources. I mean, there's stuff that I still can't explain, like why round-shaped planets are starting to appear in the sky. But I'm trying, okay? I'm trying to figure that out. So, where was my tangent? So it doesn't fit into their plans, is what I'm getting at. It just makes people start questioning more and more of everything, and that's why I don't think it's psyops. I think there are psyops within the community, and again, because we know that they're trying to stage an alien invasion to pull this shit off and to cover up what's coming. So to sit here and go, yeah, the Earth is a spaceship and aliens are controlling and feeding off us, that's where the psyops comes in. Because if you already looked into Illuminati and stuff, you know they're worshipping Satan and they're going to fake aliens as the fallen ones. Okay? And so if you get into Flat Earth and you're like, no, aliens still exist, that's psyops right there. You can't go into Flat Earth and still believe in aliens. That's like saying, I believe in God and the Big Bang. It contradicts itself, okay? But what Flat Earth does is it gets people thinking. Because our whole lives in school, we're taught, memorize this information, do not question it, and recite it when it's demanded. That's what you're taught. You're taught you're not taught to think critically or outside the box. You're taught to just remember what they tell you and to regurgitate it. And so what Flat Earth does is it makes people go outside and start looking around and looking at the sky and trying to think critically. That's what it does. And that's why I don't think it's psyops at all, is because people start scratching their heads and they start researching deeper, and they start finding discrepancies everywhere in everything. And we have, as I said, mainstream media putting out a piece of news on space like every week. It is literally every week. Look at these new moon photos that were never before released. Over 10,000 of them. We're so excited. Look at Mars and how we found water. Look at Pluto and the big obvious CGI heart shape that we put on it, and we just had Scott Kelly come back down after supposedly a year in space. So they're really trying to drive home this space stuff like more than ever. But what it does when you start questioning if the Earth is round is you start questioning everything, okay? And I've turned away from mainstream media for quite a while now. Because if mainstream media is covering it, it's complete and utter bullshit. And like I said, find yourself some alternative news, because mainstream media is scripted. There are a group of people that own all of it, okay? And they manipulate all of the information. And you might be thinking, no, Fox is special. No. All of it. MSNBC, CNN, Fox, they're all the same, okay? And you should really check out this video. There's tons of other videos like this. And I was watching this and I just got like a physical gut reaction of feeling sick. Like I watched this and I just felt so sick for all the people who watch mainstream media and that I used to be that person and I didn't ever think critically for anything, and it just makes you feel sick when you see this kind of stuff and how obvious it is. So I'm just gonna play a short clip of this and you guys can watch the whole 6 minutes. Like I said, I got a physical reaction to seeing this nonsense that we believe, and a lot of people still believe.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
Well, child's happiness is priceless, right? Especially on a birthday.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
So you get the idea, and it's 6 minutes of, different news stories being regurgitated in the same manner, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and they're from all different kinds of mainstream media, okay? It's completely gut-wrenching. So that's why I don't think Flat Earth is psyops, is because it makes people start questioning everything. They're like, well, if the Earth is flat, what else are they lying to us about? And you start doing your own research and drawing your own conclusions, and they do not want that at all. They want you to stay asleep and watch the TV and be a good little sheep. Bah! So, other stuff that I have just been putting together on my own, okay? And pull out your bullshit calculators and do some math with me. So, these are the wonderful pictures you get from NASA when you look for asteroids. You get these grainy little, whatevers. They're so low resolution and total crap, and that's what you get when you search for pictures of asteroids. So let's see, like that Halloween asteroid we had come by. That one was just obvious. It came by on Halloween, and it was shaped like, I'm sorry, I'm talking and clicking in all the wrong places. It was shaped like a skull. This one. Right here. My computer's being super slow all of a sudden. You get images like this. And these things are supposedly flying around right above our heads or between Earth and the sun. Like, they're not that far out there at all, guys. You've got another one of these where it's like super grainy and just low budget. Like, they didn't put any effort into it. And they're like, oh, it's dark and it's in space. Yeah, so is everything else. Okay? But then you've got images from Hubble that can supposedly see billions of years into space. And they're so HD and beautiful and glorious. And it's like, now wait a minute. You're telling me that stuff flying right above our heads we can't get an HD picture of, but we can get HD pictures of stuff trillions of light years away. I mean, hold on now. Is the Hubble far-sighted? Because I know from stories and from documentaries that when they supposedly first put it up there, it was nearsighted and they had to go up there and fix it. Okay? And what, they fixed it and now it can't see anything up close? And I say that because if you follow anything about this Pluto stuff, how long did it take them before we got a clear image of Pluto? Years! How long has Hubble been up there? They couldn't just point Hubble at Pluto? And you're thinking, well, I guess not. Well, actually, they did. And this is what the images of Hubble returned about Pluto. This is from NASA. This is Hubble Space Telescope. And this is Pluto. So is Hubble farsighted? Can it not see things in our own backyard? And we had to wait years. I think the New Horizons was launched in what, 2006? And we had to wait years for that satellite to pass by Pluto before we got that beautiful CGI image of it. Come on now. What's going on? And you get more photos like this where they literally, like NASA puts this stuff right in front of our faces. These are computer-generated artistic images of Pluto based on data from the Hubble telescope. That's cool. Where are the real ones? Where's the data you're referring to? You see what I'm saying? They're just like, oh, these are all artistic renditions of what it actually looks like. And you're like, cool, now let me see what it actually looks like. So, I mean, when you start doing some math, it's not adding up. It's not, and if you saw my recent video, I showed you how easy it is to fake an image of Mars, okay? And I put up this image, or this video, showing how I did this. I completely faked this image. And I have a very limited understanding of filters. You know, I rarely use filters when I'm making artwork, but I know enough to do this. So imagine what a pro Photoshopper can do. And if you are a pro Photoshopper watching this, why don't you go try it? Go find a random desert image and play around with it. It's pretty fun. It's like, how well can I fake this? It's really fun. And this is an actual image that I pulled, and I mean, it looks just like the one that I showed you. This one is another one that I completely faked, and this was my first effort, and I completely faked it from this lovely desert image. So you can see, I mean, it's not that hard. And all it is like putting a red filter over it. And a lot of phones these days have apps that can do this stuff way better. Okay? And as I was like making my video and pulling up images, I pulled this one up. And I noticed right here, can you see it? In this area, sloppy photoshopping, where you can clearly see they had a darker patch on this area. And they tried to blend it in with the rest of the photo, but they left a neat little line there. You can see it running all the way up. You see it? How it's clearly different. It's lighter over here and darker there. Neat little line they left for us. And I came to this realization when I was looking at so, supposedly, the Soviet Union put up a, so long before we put anything on Mars, any rovers, the Soviet Union put up a rover or probe on Venus, and this is what the surface of Venus looks like, right? It's all green and hazy, and I kept looking at this like, that's not what I remember NASA saying Venus looked like. And even here, someone showed, okay, how it took black and white images and they just put a little filter over it, and they were like, yeah, that's what it looks like. They're like, oh, it's black and white, so we put a filter over it to show you what it truly looks like. I mean, hey guys, so that just crashed on me, so linking these two rants together is gonna be a pain in the butt. So forgive me if there's any audio discrepancies, but what I was saying was, like, these images don't look like what NASA says Venus looks like. And even here they say, oh, it was black and white, and we just added the filter to show what it really looks like. Okay, so if you start adding up stuff, like, they put it in plain sight, and this is what NASA says Venus looks like. Like, they couldn't even corroborate and at least get it green. Like, they're like, no, it's completely red because it's hot. But the Soviet Union's like, no, it was green, remember? We went up there. Remember? Remember? So, I mean, lots of questions. And another thing that I have questions about that I just, for the life of me, I can't find is when I search for images of Uranus, I get pictures of Neptune. Like, where's Uranus? I want to see its rings, okay? And that is what I can't find. I can't find a single real image, or at least a quality CGI like the pictures of Saturn. Like, I can't find a nice quality one of its rings. Like, it's all CGI crap. And that's really obvious when you start questioning this stuff and people go, well, try and find a real picture of a planet. When the flat earthers say that, and you're like, okay, I'll prove you wrong. I'll just Google this and I'll find one and you'll look like a dumbass. And then you Google it and it's like, I can't find one. I can't find a real picture. And I get really bothered about Uranus because I want to see one that's at least as good as the ones of Saturn that could kind of maybe pass for something real. Like, I can't find them at all. And this is Saturn right there. Like, they don't even give Uranus the time of day to, like, make it CGI pretty. And it makes me sad, and I just get pictures of Neptune instead. I guess that one's kind of pretty. Kind of pretty. That one's kind of pretty. You got the fake little stars in the background. So, I mean, when you start actually, like, Google searching some of this stuff to try and disprove it, because a lot of us will sit there, and that's what I first started out. I was like, no, the earth is round. And they're like, okay, Google it. And you're like, no, I'm not even going to humor that thought. And you get curious and you actually Google it, and you're like, you find yourself falling into depression. That they might be onto something, and it starts to kind of piss you off. And another thing that I have a huge problem with, okay, is we have these beautiful pictures of Earth. Oh, they're so gorgeous, and this is immediately what people point to, who believe in the round Earth. Is like, well, look at the pictures we have of it. Look at it. Why are you so dumb? We have pictures of it. And the people in the flat Earth community are like, none of them are the same. And you're like, nuh-uh, and then you Google it, and you're like, they're right. None of them are the same. Either the ocean is too dark, or this one in particular, the land looks completely CGI'd and fake. Like, completely CGI'd and fake. Like, this is fake. And if you're looking at this image and you're like, no, that looks totally real. I mean, they have got you. They have got you. Look at how CGI this crap is. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my god, it's nonsense. Okay? And they also point out, like, things like this. Look at these two images and the sizes of the continents. Like, if this is North America in this image, I mean, look at this. Look at this, guys. Hurry up and load. Oh, it's taking forever to load. But I'm gonna get to my point. Look at how big freaking North America is. If that's how big it is, the rest of the continents don't even fit on this. I mean, you can't even see South America, and you can already tell that it would stretch all the way around the bottom, and it's like, okay, well, where would the Arctic Circle be? Like, none of the continents fit on that image. And your computer's doing something funky. Maybe I'm being, like, hacked. Oh no, I'm freezing. No, spinning color wheel of doom. Okay, so that's my point, is why are they so different? And the color is so different. And the sizes are so different. Okay? Like, if this is the Earth, none of the continents fit. This one, which is the most recent one they put out, a lot of people have already come forward and nitpicked the hell out of this, and you can clearly see in this one that whoever's the artist over at NASA is lazy as all heck. Okay, because this is just a simple brush pattern, and I can do this. I can do this brush pattern. You just grab a little painty brush and you swirl it around at a different occupancy, and it makes these funny little clouds. And I mean, I was looking at this and I was like, I can do this crap right here in this area. This is easy. And then down here, as you look, and some of these clouds are just cloned stamps. So we've got this one here and this one. And you could do that in Photoshop. You can outline a shape and you can turn it into a brush tool and then like stamp it all around and make it like in different occupancies and stuff. So, and I'll just pull up that image because other people can neatly pointed this stuff out and already outlined it and you know, made it beautiful. See? We've got repeating clouds. And NASA admits, they're like, oh, these are composite images that we had to string together because of all that space trash out there. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember now, the space trash. Okay, yeah, that's right, cool. And then you're like, well, let me just look at the pictures of the space junk. Junk. Let me look at that. And you're like, how come all of these pictures are fake? Like there is no real image of all the trash that they say is up there. None. And supposedly every time NASA wants to send something out into space, not only do they have to make sure the weather is lined up, all the planets are lined up just right, and everything is perfect with the spacecraft and the telescope. They have to navigate through all this crap that is supposedly spinning thousands of miles around Earth as we spin thousands of miles per hour. Like, the more you start thinking critically about this stuff, the more it's like, all of this is complete bullshit. And you just feel like a total fool. Like, look at these images. None of them are real. I can't find a single real image. Of all the satellites we have up there, none of them can take a real image of what the Earth looks like surrounded by all this trash? Why? We're big kids. We can handle it. I think it would actually be very sobering if we could see that, because, I mean, we see pictures of, plastic in the ocean all the time, and it's very sobering to think, oh my goodness, like look at all the trash that's out there and how much freaking damage we've done to the Earth. So if NASA put up a real image of all the freaking space junk that's now orbiting our beautiful planet that we have already been destroying the crap out of, it's like, I think it would be very sobering to think, we are really destroying this planet. But NASA won't put up anything. And look at this one. This one's so funny. Just show us a real picture of it. Show us. We can handle it. But there's no real pictures of it. And that's probably my biggest issue with the round Earth thing, is there's no freaking satellites. None. Like none, okay? And that is proven. That's proven when you look at images from like the ISS, okay? And you watch the ISS stream live, do you ever see any real images when you're watching the live ISS streaming of satellites? You don't see any satellites anywhere. It's just the ISS. And even in the pictures of it, there's no other satellites. Where is this thing orbiting that you're not seeing any other satellites? How high is it up there? Is it below all of these other things? Like, how come you can't see it above it then? Where is it? And I do think the ISS is real. This is a real thing. But I don't think there are people living on it. because the more I look at this thing, the more it looks like just a hunk of machinery with little cameras on it, and less like something people could live on. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. It does look real, but I don't think people are on it. I think this thing and maybe the Hubble are the only things up there. That is my honest opinion. I think this is probably the only thing up there. And if we are looking at this from the perspective of like an electromagnetic universe, then I totally 100% think that of course the government has the technology to put this up there and keep it up there. I mean, it's just magnetic. They have found a way to overcome the magnetic, and they just make it float and make it stay up there. Because we already know they have technology like Project Bluebeam, so why is it such a far stretch to think that they have more advanced technology than mainstream media leads on, and they can actually put stuff up there and keep it up there? I don't think this is in an actual orbit in the sense that we know orbit as, you know, as this gravityless void. I think it's electromagnetic, and that's how they keep it up there. Where was my rant going? And then you say, well, we have all this video of NASA spacewalks, and I'm telling you, all you have to do is go to YouTube or Google and just type in, spacewalk bubbles, and you will see bubbles coming up from the astronauts' helmets when they're supposed to be in space. Why? I mean, last time I checked, space doesn't have bubbles, or certainly not air bubbles. Okay, let's see. NASA spacewalk bubbles. And there are tons of videos on this for you guys, okay? Tons of people talk about this, and it's not just NASA that was caught doing it. The Chinese were also caught doing this. My computer is being super slow. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's struggling. Anyway, my computer can't handle this right now, so you can Google it. You can Google it yourselves and search it yourselves and see it for yourselves, okay? Like, I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. Oh, there was one. Did you see it? It just went by. You're a big kid. You can Google this stuff for yourself. That's how I got into it. I was a big girl, and I pulled up my big girl panties, and I opened up Google, and I started searching and looking into this stuff, okay? So you can do it too. Don't expect me to have all the answers, because I don't. I don't know what asteroids are. And, I mean, if NASA's just faking all this shit, maybe asteroids aren't even real. There was another bubble. And you're saying, oh, well, then what hits the Earth? What are the craters from? I don't know. What does the Bible say? What does Scripture say? It says fallen stars. That's what it says. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, I don't know. I don't have a spaceship. Just be a big boy and go Google it. There were some other things that I did want to rant about that have escaped me now. My train of thought has been derailed, and it has crashed. My rants get so heavy they can't stay on the track. Hold on. So anyways, this is why I really like Flat Earth, is because it just says that, they're hiding God from us, and God is there. And there are so many discrepancies already. Like, you can look this stuff up for yourselves. Operation Fishbowl, where the United States and Russia sent a whole bunch of nukes just up into the sky and started just, I don't know, firing. Like, why were they firing nukes at the sky? And people who have said, because there are multiple perspectives on this NASA BS. There's the flat Earth perspective, and then there's the Van Allen radiation belt perspective, where the only reason we haven't gone to the moon is because there's a ton of radiation up there that humans can't go past. And to me, I mean, yes, you can say that, but when you read stories about how we were firing nuclear weapons up there, and they say, oh, that was to just help dissipate the nuclear or the radiation that's up there. I'm like, you can't fight radiation with radiation. It doesn't work like that. You can't blow up radiation and make it dissipate with more radiation. And I've been trying not to do like Skype videos where you can like see my face and stuff, because like I do have a personal life besides all of these internet ranting videos, okay? And to have an employer or something find these videos and I mean, if you do think the Earth is flat, people look down on that, and it's a sad society that we have where you're not allowed to think outside the box or to question anything that they give us. You're not allowed to question it. And if you do, then you're crazy, you're nut, you're mentally ill, and people treat you like crap for it. So I haven't been trying to put out too much personal information, but I will say that I used to work for a company that made capsules, radioactive capsules. So we took I-123 and we diluted it down and we injected it into sugar, into capsules for thyroid assays. So people who were getting their thyroids checked and the functioning, and sometimes full body scans, they would take these capsules and then your doctors would see how your body processes it and see if there's anything malfunctioning, okay? So we used to do that. I've worked around radiation, and when I hear people talk about the Van Allen radiation belt and the way NASA treats it so casually, like if you watch Astronauts Gone Wild, like watch that clip, okay? They say in that clip, like, well, he's asked about the belt, and he's like, I don't know if I ever passed through a belt. And the guy tells him how far it is out, and he's like, oh yeah, then I passed right through it, and to my knowledge, we had no issues with it. But you have NASA saying, before then and after, oh, we don't know about how to overcome the belt. It's really strong. And they treat it so casually, and so that's what's hard for me, is if we have this ISS up there, and that belt is as strong as they say it is, I don't believe for a second they would let anyone live on the ISS. Because I have worked around I-123, iodine-123, and you guys can Google this. It's a relatively mild. It's not like an atomic bomb kind of stuff. It's really, you can handle it. Not with your bare hands, you shouldn't do that, but we had like lead shielding in the lab between us, and we would work around it, and we would have the equipment dosing the capsules, and the only time we were we didn't touch it with our bare hands. We had tweezers and we had all the instruments we needed, but there were occasions when like the lab would get contaminated, and all hell breaks loose, and that's totally funny to watch a lab get contaminated and just how much people lose their minds. But I would have to do safety checks all the time. I'd have to check myself and check my body for radiation every day before and after work to see how my levels were. And then I'd have to do like surveys around the lab, surveys on the product, and surveys on stuff being shipped in and shipped out, okay? So it's no joke. None of it's any joke. And the way NASA seems to scoff at the radiation belt, like, oh, yeah, we know it's there, and we sent astronauts right through it without any issues, and minimal shielding is just... Oh, it's really hard for me to swallow because I worked around I-123 and I know how much shielding we had to have in the lab for that minuscule amount, okay? So that's just my perspective on that. Where else was I going? I had one more tangent that I wanted to go on. I have two more tangents. So look into Nikola Tesla and his theories about, you know, the electric universe and electromagnetism, and even he says, you know, today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and that's why I don't approach any of this flat earth stuff with math, because anyone can make up like any kind of math, and if you know, got the right formulas and enough of it, you can convey any sort of idea you want. And he says that. He says they wander off through equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. And I totally agree with him on that. And I think both sides are doing that. Both the flat earth and the round earth are doing that. They're like trying to come up with math and trying to solve it from that perspective instead of, you know, physical experiments. So when I see people sending up balloons, I love footage of people sending balloons up and what they see, and the sun does look really close. So if you watch any of those, and he even talks directly about Einstein's relativity work is a magnificent mathematical garb which fascinates, dazzles, and makes people blind to the underlying errors. Okay, the theory is like a beggar clothed in purple, whom ignorant people take for a king. And this is what he said about that. And a lot of people have said since the mainstream media came out about gravity that this is total bullshit. If mainstream media covers it, take it with a grain of salt. Okay? That's just my perspective. So then the last thing here before I finish up was what does mainstream media tell us about the firmament and the flat earth? And they do put stuff out there, guys. You know, we have even this Homer Simpson clip where, you know, they hit the firmament and the ocean above comes right down. Like, they do put this stuff out there. And we already know that call it predictive programming or whatever, that they put things out before they happen. I'm not saying the firmament is gonna break, which, I mean, it might if you're at all looking into CERN, which CERN is another piece of like bullcrap logic. Like, how can these scientists say we're smashing atoms together to find out how the Big Bang happened? The Big Bang happened before there were atoms. That's what science tells us, is there was nothing, a bang happened, and then there were atoms and matter everywhere, and they started interacting. And the people who work at CERN will say, we're smashing atoms, the material that came after the Big Bang, to figure out how the Big Bang happened. Like, it's circular logic, and it's really, like, when you start thinking critically and get out your bullshit calculator, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. And there are plenty of movies that show this kind of thing. There's the movie called, like, I think it's The Signal. And I haven't watched it, but I saw like the trailer of it and the ending. Oh, my computer's really slow and sad today. I don't know, Google for yourselves. You guys are big kids. So I'm gonna end this rant here. And you guys are totally free to disagree with me on all of this. That is your prerogative. I'm just telling you what confuses me and makes me curious and sort of angry about round Earth and the information NASA puts out. And if you really look at all the pictures of the planets, you won't find one that isn't CGI. They are all CGI. And it's just a matter of perspective. And I showed you that in one of my videos called Destroying the Illusion, or the Round Earth Illusion. Come on, you can do it. Load, because I will leave a link to this in the description, and this is supposedly from a satellite that takes pictures of the Earth, real time, daily, from space. And to me, it's just a matter of perspective. It looks to me like we're looking through a pinhole, honestly, or you know, if you hold up a paper towel roll to your eye, that's what it looks like. This void is too dark. And you know, even now you're probably sitting there scoffing at me, but here's another thing I just want to point out. If this is the Earth from a satellite that was put up on, let's find a good date where the whole thing is illuminated. Can't find a whole illuminated one. Here we go. So if this is the Earth from a satellite that was put up on the 3rd of March at 7 o'clock, where are the other satellites? Where are they? This is obviously a manipulation of perspective, okay? Anyway, I'm going to end it here, guys. Thanks for watching.